Hi, I'm Strictly Kev, and this is
I'm Jason Atomic, and we're at Beyond 2000 AD
at Orbital Comics. So, should we look around the exhibition? What do we have first?
So we start off with some comics donated by Mike Lake, who was one of the founders of Forbidden Planet, and he's obviously been collecting comics since at least the 1950s, focusing mainly on science fiction and fantasy. So we've got Rocket and TV21, POW, Countdown, various sort of sci-fi and pop culture based.
There's a lot of Jerry Anderson stuff. As I can see, Thunderbirds there, Stingray.
Yeah.
TV21 is obviously all Jerry Anderson.
So it's a kind of post-Dan Dare British science fiction.
There's a bit Doctor Who as well down the bottom.
That's basically what we had on offer before 2000 AD, those and stories like Valiant.
And action as well, and Battle and Valiant and Warlord.
Battle and then an action obviously directly lead into 2000 AD. We have a collage here which I made of old progs that were too destroyed to be able to be sold in the shop. I had to collage quite carefully to cover over all the genitals that had been drawn on all the characters in these issues.
Progs 1 and 2 and 3.
There. Yeah, Prog 1 was a repro, 2 and 3 were the originals.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny cutting up these comics for me, because as a 10-year-old reading these comics at the time, I did always cut out the posters and make the little booklets and stuff. There's a few of those on display.
There's the Red Alert book.
Yeah, I have my Red Alert wallet, which tied in with the Invasion storyline and had a fluorescent lightning bolt on the front that was supposed to change colour if poisonous gas was released in your vicinity.
I noticed this at the bottom as well. There's a McMahon poster of Tharg and Dredd.
Yeah.
Butch Dredd and the Beetlejuician Kid. Is that how? Beetlejuician?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Beetlejuice, yeah.
We Are the Law, which is a weird little sort of almost a mashup within 2000
That's
AD.
weird. And
Tharg dressed as a judge.
I just found that as I was clearing out some stuff in my
coloured in
parents'
some of that
cellar.
as well?
Yeah, I've coloured it in with highlighter pens, which work really well on 2000 AD paper, apparently.
Yeah. The infamous bog roll.
Yeah.
Which all the artists hated because it destroyed any colour work. Tharg clock.
From Brett Ewing's studio.
Nice.
I don't know how many of those were made, if that was actually a merchandise or just a one-off.
And we've got some super rare badges from Rufus here.
These badges are beautiful. I think we all would have liked to have bought these badges, but apparently the set of 4 were prototypes, which Rufus won in some kind of competition or wrote into the comic. Right. We've got some original McMahon stuff there, haven't we? That's Satanus and Dredd are
and
completely unique.
Kevin O'Neill Roadbusters by the look of it.
Yeah.
With Hammerstein and Rojaws. And then there's a Esquerra Strontium Dog, which is again, they're all original, aren't they? I remember seeing them in the comic. Not the Strontium Dog one, though. It's all new. So, yeah, lucky Rufus on that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of Rufus's stuff in this show.
Rufus Dayglow, that is, one of the biggest 2000 AD collectors you probably ever meet, and also artist now for the prog.
Yeah, he's quite a historian, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Then we have his pal Gary Leach has drawn a version of the werewolf Dredd.
Yeah.
From Cry of the Werewolf.
Hasn't finished his badge. This is a bit of original art here we've got.
This was produced as a tribute to Steve Dillon, who originally drew the Dredd werewolf storyline and died recently, and this has been produced as a kind of memorial, I guess.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's good. Trading cards by the likes of McMahon. Who else have we got there?
Some Bisleys.
Esquerra, Ron Smith, Dean Ormston, Carl Critchlow.
There's some beautiful stuff there.
Oh, Chris Halls. That's Chris Cunningham, who went on to make the Aphex Twin videos. He briefly worked under the name Chris Halls and drew a few things for the comic. Well, and also he designed a lot of stuff for the original Dredd movie. But anyway, that's getting off the point.
Basically, this show's looking at the wider impact of 2000 AD. So we start with the inception of the comic and what went before it, and then we're moving on to what came to be known as the British invasion of the comic book scene. So we've got Comics Journal and Time Out and a various... there's the Halo Jones play program and various convention things.
Lots of Bolland artwork, specially commissioned for Ark and Sword fanzine, Time Out covers.
Or the McMahon Dredd, who's just killed all the other comic characters illustrated by Boland as a
Yeah.
kind of
Wonder
mashup.
Woman, Red Sonja, Superman, Spider-Man. Possibly the first ever spin-off book, the 2000 AD Space Quiz book, which has got virtually nothing to do with 2000 AD,
No, it's
apart
got
from
the Mekon and a space shuttle on the cover. They were obviously going for the general public on that one.
by Dave Gibbons, I think. And then there's some replicas down the bottom, isn't there?
Yep.
A Lawgiver
Beautiful
Mark I.
replica Lawgiver.
That's a Nerf gun that's been adapted, that top one. And a Dread badge. So what else? We got some of your T-shirts here, haven't
There's
we,
a
Jason?
lot of T-shirts. We have Rufus's collection of 2000 AD shirts. We've got
Prog 61, my first one ever.
Prog 61, Dread taking the law into the cursed earth.
And the Un-American Graffiti, both McMahon covers.
Another classic.
And what are these up here? This is...
we've got Artie Gruber, the baddie from the Harlem Heroes,
Yeah.
which is... Dave Gibbons drew it to the waist,
Right.
and then some unknown person has put rather chunky little legs on the bottom.
Is that actually an official T-shirt? It looks like a bootleg.
It does look like a bootleg. I'm not sure.
I've just noticed there's a City Death T-shirt, and it's a Margaret Thatcher block.
Yeah, still in
Combat
its
unit.
shrink wrap. Rufus said as a punk he could not bring himself to wear anything with Margaret Thatcher written on it.
Fair enough.
And so that's still encased in vinyl there. There's also the Strontium Dog with an image by Carlos Esquerra taken from Star-Lord before he migrated to 2000 AD.
And now we get to a cabinet stuffed with gorgeous toys.
Oh,
and
there's all manner of goodies in here.
badges.
We have Rufus's badge collection again. I'm wearing my ones.
Okay. Tons of Dread badges.
Lots of different versions of the Dread badge. We have my Red Alert Survival wallet from issue 2.
That's from Tornado, that one.
And then the Team Tornado Mayday pack, which is basically the same thing repurposed.
But that was Tornado was a comic that came out later, wasn't it? After
It was.
and then folded into 2000 AD at the
I think that's where the Black Hawk,
Black Hawk comes from there. I think that was the only thing to
Gladiator,
survive, wasn't
yeah.
it? And we've got a lovely Ashley Wood 3A Toys version of Mongrel toy, a huge 1/6 version.
Yeah, I had to
from
put that
ABC
together
Wars.
to get it in the case, and everything's articulated.
It's amazing. He's even got a little version of the mess in his
Yep.
little case stuck to him.
Not something for a household collection.
No, this is one of yours, isn't it? This is your Star-Lord Trooper.
I got
Mech War robot.
free with, was that issue 1 of Star-Lord, I think? The
Yep.
Kev O'Neill Mech War sticker, which I've stuck onto a leather wallet, and I used to keep all my fact files that I cut out from the comic in there. So
There's a flesh one here.
we have Flesh, we have Star-Lord's Guide to the Galaxy,
Book of
and
the Robots.
Rojaws and Hammerstein's
Yeah,
Book of Robots.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I did a lot of cutting up of my early progs. We have the set of Flesh cards up here.
Yeah. There was always the multi-part posters, weren't there?
Yeah.
It was kind of Tharg's World of Characters. Do you remember that one? That was like 6
Yeah,
parts.
cut
and
that
there was
out,
the Cursed Earth cover in 4 parts.
They'd take weeks to put together and decorate many a bedroom door, I'm sure.
Here's another cabinet with more toys.
Yeah, we've got a lot of kind of action figures from various different companies in here. We have the notorious Dread Candle, which is it's seen better days, to be honest.
It
But
has.
it survived remarkably well, though, considering it is
Whose is that?
30 plus years. That is again from Mike Lake's collection.
Okay.
We have a signed photo of Tharg,
Borog Thung.
Borag Thung.
And there's some Dreads. There's a DR figurine from DR and Quinch, which is beautifully painted.
Yeah, by someone called Robert Harrop.
Okay. And then there's a Nemesis by Pete Fowler, which is gorgeous, from Unbox, who've done a great job on that.
That's a very cute little kind of
Cute little
chibi
Nemesis.
nemesis there. We've got some Dread CD-ROM.
So it's a Dread pinball machine app.
Presumably, yes. Not actually played any of these.
Several different Dreads,
Yeah.
probably from around the time of the
We have
first film.
Legendary Comic Book Heroes, which is a weird series from actually made by Marvel, who haven't put their name on it,
Oh, really?
where they've licensed all these different characters from indie comics.
Right.
So there's like Image Comics characters, 2000 AD characters. I think Madman might have been in it.
Oh, okay.
It's a very strange series, that.
This always confused me. There's a penguin here, Judge Dredd cosplay penguin, which is
Yeah.
quite a new thing as well. I mean, it's actually sculpted quite well, but I don't know who would actually want a penguin in the form of Judge Dredd. Moving along, we've got a big wall of original art, haven't we?
We do. Gary Leach has donated a lot of his personal collection to the show. We have Judge Dredd's Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, minus the splash page, sadly, which is where he referenced the original movie poster.
Yeah, but we've got the original comic for that, so you can actually see, and a little repro of the original poster.
In the show, there's a lot of comics hanging on clips where you can actually take them down and read the story in its whole.
Yeah, you can see the entirety of the thing if you want. We've got Tom Foster prints here. Is this?
These prints are exclusive.
Oh, these are Blam prints, aren't they?
Yeah, Blam made these.
How many? Edition of 40.
They come with a certificate of authenticity and were produced especially for the 40th anniversary.
There's one of Mean Machine. There's one of Dread in the snow, and then we've got more up here. That's your T-shirt, isn't it?
That's my Alan Moore Man. DR and Twinch T-shirt, signed at one of the signings organised by, I would assume, Titan Books, or maybe one of the annual launches that they used to do at Forbidden Planet. And next to that, we have a copy of Class War magazine, which is a feminist issue, one for the girls, and it's bootlegging a Crazy Cassie poster, again from DR and Quinch. We've got some more original artwork. Got Mick McMahon, Cam Kennedy. 2000 AD cover.
Lots of Dread.
We've got McMahon from the Day the Law Died.
What's this down here? Dan Dare, London.
This was a poster magazine, I guess aimed at people that had been reading Eagle. So, I mean, for me, when I was a young earthlet, my dad would tell me about the old Dan Dare comics.
Mine too. This looks like it's been drawn by two different artists. It looks like a Ballard and Ellie bottom.
It is.
And something else on the top. Or maybe it's him as well.
I think maybe it is. It's from the Dan Dare comic strip in 2000 AD, and the original art of this is right now at the Cartoon Museum. We've got another poster next to that, an Eagle Comics advert from when they started repackaging for the American market.
Yeah,
but it's got some beautiful artwork there by McMahon and Kev O'Neill.
Yeah, which is exclusive to the poster. That is one of my favourite things in the whole exhibition.
It's beautiful, isn't it? With the characters from each comic facing off against each other. Judge Dredd versus Nemesis.
And I'd never seen that before.
We've got my Mike McMahon beach towel of Judge Dredd. It's slightly tatty because someone hung it on a door hook and then pulled it, so it's got kind of holes at top and bottom.
I didn't even know they made them. They made them.
Something that came into my claws when I was squatting in back in the day.
There's a bit of Robusta's original art by Dave Gibbons here from the what's that? Charlie. What was the story called?
Terramex.
Terramex. That's
because they were terraforming.
Yeah. Of course, that was it.
Some more Gary Leach artwork from the VC Warriors, which is quite beautiful. And again, we have the relevant prog on display. Then we have from November 1981, an advert for Dredd strips appearing in the Daily Star. And he was a daily strip for many years.
Brilliant.
And we have the collected editions of...
lots of collected editions here. Slain,
basically,
Judge Dredd.
Ron Smith is probably like the unsung hero of Dredd. I think as much as I love the other artists for their portrayal of Dredd, especially McMahon, for me, I think Ron Smith really nailed the citizens of Mega City 1.
He did work with Otto Sump and people like that.
Yeah, all the kind of the fads and everything. He really nailed
and
those.
Also for sheer output. I don't think anyone drew as much Dredd in those early years as Ron Smith.
And he's got a really clean and elegant style that is quite specific. And the sense of ugliness. Yeah. Which is something we haven't mentioned yet, but that was something very special to 2000 AD. It was kind of like punk. It was ugly and kind of grotesque and kind of challenging to the eyeball.
They nailed the sort of grim, gritty city life, didn't they?
Yeah. And then, of course, on that vein, Kev O'Neill, who's influenced your piece here.
Oh, yeah. This was a little piece of artwork I did for the Zarjazz exhibition, which was, I don't know, even that was like 10 years ago or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zarjazz 2005.
Yes.
But then also...
That's a kind of fake Nemesis cover that I kind of wish existed. So I put Torquemada in with Nemesis in silhouette and a Terminator and lots of things coming out of termite. When I was drawing it, my wife was pregnant with our children and I tried to guess the date that they would be born, and I was one day out. They were born on the 28th of September. Because I said to get this in before the exhibition, but yeah, that just came out of my loft.
Judge Dredd, without the D.
Yeah. It's French, isn't it? I remember seeing that in Metal Hammer, Metal Hurland.
We have a copy down there, Metal Hurland.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of the European and American reprints of 2000 AD. We have a few of the Eagle comics. And then we move on to music, because obviously the music biz was quite influential on 2000 AD and influenced by it. So there was a lot of crossover there.
There's tons here, isn't there?
The first human being to be featured in 2000 AD, as far as I know, in a photograph was Spiz, who released the single Mega City 3. And we have the Spiz History album, which features that track here.
Yeah. There's one of yours there. Jimmy Percy, you're on that, aren't you?
Basically, what happened was when I moved to London, my kind of style guru was Ron Smith and his Mega City citizen portrayal. And I used to style myself as a spug, which is the Mega City equivalent of a punk. And I painted my leather jacket with spug on and very much went for that look. I used to wear tights and knee pads and went for the whole kind of thing. Being 1985, I figured it was close enough to 2000 that we should be looking towards the future. That led to me being photographed as part of a collage for this Jimmy Percy Vidicat 12-inch. And there's some friends of mine, Amy, who used to work for Titan Books, in shoulder pads and straps, and Johnny Deluxe looking like some kind of cartoon ninja. My spug look led to me being recruited as a member of the Zarjazz, and the Zarjazz were put together by a character called Zarjazz Baby, who'd previously been called Zero Baby, and he'd approached Tharg and visited the Nerve Centre to ask permission to name his band the Zarjazz. He turned up in kind of full sort of Louis XIV gear with a neon wig and all dressed in that beautiful clothing, and was quite disappointed when he found Tharg was a human being.
Human being, yeah. What?
So anyway, Zarjazz formed his band with Tony James, who went on to create Zig Zig Sputnik, who we have a record by here, with a character on the front drawn by Ron Smith, who is kind of half Mega City Judge and half kind of Louis XIV or Bark kind of style. That's very much a reference to the vision of Zarjazz Baby. An earlier incarnation of the Zarjazz featured Tony James, who went on and used a lot of those ideas with Zig Zig Sputnik.
That's a really weird cover, isn't it, as well? Because it's Albinoni versus Star Wars.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation for it whatsoever.
Not really,
no connection to 2000 AD, but it's obviously Dredd.
It's obviously Dredd, and if you know Zarjazz Baby, it's obviously based on him.
Yeah, right.
He, after Sputnik formed, released Legenda del Bloc, which is kind of a take on Wendy Carlos, kind of Clockwork Orangey harpsichord music. And then when we met him, he formed a rock and roll 3-piece with myself and Subway Steranko. We did a few gigs doing interblock rock.
Bass frequency operator, it says.
Yeah,
You're the
ultra beat specialist, which meant I had to turn on the drum machine. And he had me hit a synth drum every other beat.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't very good at it, to be honest.
Then we've got one of mine, actually, which has got a Henry Flint cover, the cover to my Search Engine album from 2012.
So you had a big 2000 AD influence on your work as well.
Oh, massively. And when I wanted to do the sleeve of my record, I wanted something that was going to basically be pre-2000 AD, and I actually briefed Henry to do a sort of McMahon meets Mobius cosmonaut hanging in space, and he totally nailed it, really. But actually went the extra length and did some just insane psychedelic mechanical star thing behind this.
Yeah, which is kind of more like Drie or something, isn't it? It's got that French kind of album sort of feel to it. We Think So Loud up at the top.
Oh yeah, that's a Brett Ewing's Acid House 12-inch.
Sort of proto-Acid House.
The Church of Acid, Dr. Microdot.
Yeah.
If you find a copy of that 12-inch, it includes a little 8-page booklet with illustrations by people like Philip Bond and Brendan McCarthy and Brett, and I think Jamie Hewlett's in it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Shaky's even in it, Shaky Kane. That's pretty good. That's a very odd thing. Brett actually sings on that record as well.
Nasty Rocks Inc. which is a 12-inch single, the logo for which is credited to Kev O'Neill and Pat Mills. And it's featured in the martial law comic.
On the chest of gangrene for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. And then there's the Dave Gibbons cover to Bomb the Bases Into the Dragon.
Actually, David Little.
Oh, really?
David Little was the graphic designer. Inspired by Dave Gibbons.
Ah, I see.
He credits Dave because they used the Watchmen badge on the hat there.
And that gun is obviously a swipe from Esquerra's Strontium Dog.
So there's a kind of a strong influence of 2000 AD on just pop culture in general in those days.
Well, obviously the Watchman smiley became the badge of the Acid House movement.
It certainly did. And then heavy metal as well. We have the Anthrax I Am the Law here.
Oh, yeah.
Where,
who did that? Who did the cover for that?
One of the members of the band, Charlie Bennant.
I wonder if they asked permission for that.
I somehow doubt
Probably
it.
not.
We
and
have
that Mutancy Mega City one.
We've got a nice picture of Lemmy eating 2000 AD.
Lemmy had it. Get your teeth into the galaxy's greatest.
We have the Fink Brothers record. I used to have a poster for that, like a half billboard size.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sadly, my squat caught fire. I lost that.
With a classic Brian Bolland dread,
Yep.
especially commissioned for the cover, which apparently they kept.
Yep.
Didn't give him back.
And then underneath that, we have an old prog with the Strontium Dog strip where they just reference Madness with the devil taking it one step beyond.
So now we get onto the sort of offshoots of influence outside of the actual prog into other comics. So we've got
what we're calling the expansion and the British invasion. Expanding on 2000 AD, comics like Deadline coming out.
with Tangirl, obviously.
Creator-owned comics from a lot of 2000 AD creators and like-minded individuals. And then that kind of, I guess, put the fear up on 2000 AD, and they started producing things like Revolver and Crisis.
Yeah, which was heavily Pat Mills led, wasn't it, initially?
Yeah, and very much Pat Mills doing his take on David Icke, I think, with the conspiracy theories and the weird lizard brotherhood of sort of Freemason-style characters.
Which also was supposed to include Skin, wasn't it, by Brendan McCarthy and Pete Milligan.
That was one of those, wasn't it?
The tale of the thalidomide skinhead. That was it. Was supposed to go in Crisis, I think,
and then eventually
they got cold
produced
feet
by Tundra.
That's it.
When the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle money poured
in
the comics scene for a couple of years.
Deadline was about 50 issues, was it, before it folded? Revolver was about 7, I think. None of them really survived.
Basically, I think a lot of these creators then just got sucked into the American market, didn't they? And working at home just wasn't worth it by comparison.
Well, they were headhunted, weren't they, a lot of them?
Yeah,
and
off to Vertigo.
You've got a lot of the writers and artists going off to Vertigo, DC.
Yeah, Doom Patrol, Hellblazer.
The Killing Joke, obviously.
Oh, Shade the Changing Man was a good one with Pete Milligan. Brendan doing the covers.
Lots of Batman.
So Doom Patrol, Arkham Asylum.
Swamp Thing, of course, which Moore was doing.
Animal Man. And then moving on to like V for Vendetta, Watchmen, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that
end of the 80s.
Preacher. So 2000 AD creators becoming very influential, changing the whole medium, really.
Definitely contributing a big chunk to it. You know, it wasn't all about the American artists and writers.
Touch on a slightly more indie. I mentioned like being a squatter at the time. I produced my own fanzine, Superculture Classics, starring Spug and Subway, and basically we did comic strips featuring the members of the band the Zarjazz. That expanded into a story called Techno Tribe, which was influenced very much by Mutoid Waste.
Right.
Who we also feature here, who were a sort of live action version of 2000 AD, weren't they? They were
meets Mad Max, meets Freak Wave.
Yeah, they were right out of the cursed
chaos. Yeah.
And so we've got a story there about Mutoid Waste.
There's Fighting Fantasy. There's an issue of that here which is where they ventured into sort of gaming, didn't they?
The Dice Man, yeah. We've got a Choose Your Adventure style strips featuring Torquemada Goes to Hell, where he actually goes through the Hieronymus Bosch hellscape.
Does he? I don't think I had that one.
He fights the sort of giant tank that's a knife that rolls on ears, and all those things from the Bosch paintings.
There's Rogue Trooper as well, and somebody else.
Illustrated by Talbot, and I think that's the Dice Man.
Oh, right, okay.
He was like an assassin character.
Right.
Not from 2000 AD, I think maybe Was he Crisis or Revolver?
No, well, the Dice Man was a Luke Reinhardt book, wasn't it? That was quite
No,
famous.
Yeah, it's not that.
One.
Dice Man's the name of the comic.
Yeah.
He's like a hitman character. Accident Man?
Accident Man. He was in Toxic, wasn't he? Which isn't featured here, but was another spin-off that was probably the most audacious spin-off from 2000 AD in that it was...
Martial Law was in there, wasn't
again, yeah, Pat and Kevin O'Neill being really at their most anarchic, I think.
And Martial Law also featured in Strip, which was a Marvel.
That was a reprint.
It
was a reprint thing, wasn't it? Which had Grimtoe, which was, I think, Ian Gibson. Is that right?
There was some
yes, and Alan Grant and John Wagner.
Yeah, so a lot of 2000 AD
influence.
Characters now working for Marvel or licensing their creator-owned projects.
I think that's it.
Yeah, so come and experience the thrill power overload at Orbital Comics, and you'll be glad you did.
Beyond 2000 AD.
Go beyond. One step beyond.